Okay, starting the stream. Let me just adjust the camera a little bit more. Not sure how to preface this. I'm just going to go at it, and didn't have time to organize my thoughts. Just woke up, got a shower, and jumped right into this. So here we go. Hello, patrons, subscribers, family, fans, followers, supporters, and generally anybody who stumbles across my videos, and to anyone who has been following the saga of Johnston Blackhorse for this long. If you're new to what's going on, the link to the video that concerns everything that's currently happening is in the description section below. So here we go. To all those who are already up to date, this is me before I'm going to my probation office, because just yesterday, last night, I was instructed to come in today, Friday morning at 10 a.m. to the probation office in order to discuss the situations which are the topic of the previous video. And usually how the probation office works, from what I've gathered from past experience and the experience of others, is that probationees, if they're called into the probation office on a Friday morning, usually chances are the intent is to lock them up in prison over the weekend, in order to force compliance or coerce compliance. And I personally, I still have a lot of issues with what they're attempting to make me do. And a brief rundown of that is, the probation office wants me to give up the personal data, the name and social security number of my roommate's girlfriend, which I feel is illegal and unconstitutional, and as it turns out, it very well might be, because they can't ask for her personal information without probable cause, and to treat her guilty by association is um, just unconstitutional in a sense. And in order to attain that information, they have to present their request in writing and to list the reasons why. And personally, I believe that she shouldn't have to. My roommate is, he said that he would be willing to present his personal information, because he's the actual resident here, and she's his guest. And as I believe things go, my roommate's personal property as well as his guests are his business and don't have anything to do with me. So for them to search her as his personal guest is just goes against everything I think, or I believe to be right. And that's one of the issues that I'm at conflict with. The other issue is their desire to install monitoring software onto my laptop. And I believe this is intrusion on my private affairs and my personal finances, or how I make money. And not only is it intrusive into my life and my attempts to reintegrate into society by becoming self-sufficient and making money, I also believe it's punitive after the fact, because I've already done my time in prison and I'm out and I'm trying to put my life back together. And not only that, they want me to pay $30 a month for their intrusive endeavor to monitor my online activity. And I also believe that to be punitive, unconstitutionally punitive after the fact, because I'm still trying to get my life together, and I'm barely making ends meet as it is. And for them to throw a fee on top of their intrusiveness, expecting me to pay for their, um, personally, I feel like it's a violation. To make me pay for their violation is just indignant. I can't explain how violated I feel already. And since then, like, I've just been suffering with this steadying decline into a deep depression, and it's something I've been attempting to, like, just bounce back from, but it's really difficult because this is just me alone, and I'm having to deal with the feds, and I feel like it's like they believe that they can get away with anything, and I'm pretty sure like what they're doing is unconstitutional and unlawful and very illegal. But since I'm an ex-felon, I feel like I have little to no recourse to combat this, and I'm pretty much stuck or backed into a corner, and I don't know. I personally don't know what I'm going to do, but just stick with my guns and just stick with my convictions, and I appreciate all the data and information that supporters and followers of my situation have provided. And clearly, it seems that what they're doing is illegal, but for some reason, they feel like they can. Um, the judge can mandate regulations that break the law, but I don't believe that that's correct. I don't think he's allowed to do that, because if he's allowed to do that, he could do that for anything. Like, the law can't give itself an excuse to break the law, is my personal belief. And if oh, well, it's a little too late to reach out for help if the worst case scenario should present itself. But from um, from what I'm told, uh, this is what I texted to my PO last night. I texted her, "Can you tell me if you're just going to arrest me? Usually the only time you ask people to come in on a Friday morning out of the blue is because you intend to lock them up over the weekend to coerce compliance. I just want to know ahead of time so I can settle my financial affairs, so I'm not worse off than when you arbitrarily decide to lock me up again. I'd also like the chance to inform family and friends." And I left that text at that. And here is the text that her supervisor had sent to me. He says, "Johnston, this is Ben. I want to reach out to you as Amber Lee told me that you have concerns about being called into office, stating that you were coming in to get arrested, as we were only asking you to come in on Friday to possibly arrest you." Now, this is what happened last time when they threw me back in prison over my own pornographic drawings. And let me remind everyone that the first time I was released, I was allowed to draw pornographic material for financial purposes. Although, aside from that, having a pornography ban. So, as I was to understand with these two coexisting together, put me in a precarious situation, but I figured just as long as I don't go out and purchase pornography or possess other pornography, I'm free to download, not download, draw um, pornography for financial purposes and just make money on that. So I figured, like, if I'm allowed to draw pornography, like it's going to have to be in my possession until I either send it out, or sometimes people don't like bother like having me send it out. They just want the scan. So I thought I was free and clear to do that, but somehow they reworded some of the things and still found me in violation of my pornography restriction for possessing my own drawn pornography, for which, like I was already given allowance to draw for financial purposes. So I don't know what was going on there. But one of the stipulations is that I'm allowed to draw pornography for financial purposes, just so long as it wasn't based on real people. And if you watch a lot of my videos recently, my how to draw tutorials or my sketch streams, you can see that I don't require real reference in order to draw the figures that I draw. So I was down with that stipulation because I don't need it. But anyway, he goes on to say, so like you can understand why I'm pretty pensive about this whole scenario of getting called into a Friday, because that's what they did last time. They called me in, and without much warning or like explanation, they just put the cuffs on me and sent me to prison. And then it was shortly thereafter I saw a judge, and then that's when the whole like misconstrusion or willful manipulation of like the boundaries set into place, or the boundaries and the allowance set into place. They just found me in violation of the pornography restriction, even though, again, as I say, it was pornography that I myself drew, which was for financial purposes. So I'm pretty distrusting of them right now. Anyway, he goes on to say, "Let me assure you this is not the case. I simply asked Amber Lee to call you into the office to review the computer monitoring condition with you that we need to install on your computer, and do explain why we need identifiers for your roommate to reside at your residence." Now, when my PO was here, like she wasn't concerned about my roommate. She was concerned about my roommate's guest, his girlfriend that is just staying here, and she's not a permanent residence. The both of them um, want to find like an apartment together. So in all actuality, she has no intent to take up residence in Nevada until such time that they actually find an apartment. So right now she would like to, but there is no intent at this moment, says, because things are so indefinite. And he goes on to say, "So we are not calling you in to coerce compliance, but to explain our position with the conditions so we can move forward with you. That is really it. We are not locking you up or anybody up to coerce compliance." It says co-workers compliance. I guess has autocorrect. "Not sure when she has you coming in, but hope to see you tomorrow. Have a good evening." And I respond with, "Thanks for letting me know. After being locked up over my drawings last time, I hope you understand my fears and concerns. You have a good evening too." So personally, I don't trust them, because after going through the system, they've pulled too much shady shit, especially with me last time when they willfully manipulated the wording of my pornography ban, along with my allowance to draw pornography for financial purposes, and just threw me back in prison. And not only that, each time I go to prison, I somehow am become cellies with somebody who is there for just that just shouldn't be there. I mean, these are people who often like tell me their story, or in some cases are able to show me some of their paperwork and just show how blatantly erroneous like their legal process was handled. There is willful manipulation of facts and evidence to misconstrue whatever conjecture they can to manipulate it and present it as fact. And there are just so many prosecutorial coercion tactics that it's just insane. I mean, if they can't personally coerce you into signing a guilty plea, they will go after your family and start harassing your family and friends. And upon that, like a lot of people just give up after that and go ahead and sign a guilty plea just to end the hell that their family is going through, and they'll sign away years of their lives just to have the feds just stop harassing them. And nobody wants to speak up about this because they're afraid of the shame and the overbearing stigma associated with their offenses. So usually when the feds just lock their claws into you, there is little to no recourse for any sort of like justice or retribution or just recompense for anything that they do. Pretty much based on the fact that the system itself just operates without impunity. If they are found to be in the wrong, or there is legitimate reason that they are wrong, the defendant or the inmate or the individual being harassed or persecuted has just little resources to just uh, seek justice. There was just so much red tape for them to get themselves out of that situation where it didn't take much, just mere suspicion or um, what's the word? It's just idea or shoot, I had it just a little while ago. Conjecture, conjecture and hearsay, just mere conjecture and hearsay manipulated as fact. It's just it's just so rampant, and that's all it takes for them to just lock you into the system. And to get out, you have to jump through many hoops and red tape that it's damn near impossible to get justice when you've been so unjustly persecuted. And it's for those reasons that I don't trust them in the least. But I do believe what I feel is right, that these current stipulations are unconstitutional, they're overreaching, they're overbearing, and in some cases just downright illegal. To and someone like linked to me like um, information that let me look it up. Sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat. Uh, it's like there has been documented abuse of like authority in which people will look up like policing authorities will look up other people's information, just treating them guilty by association. But let me find the local state law. Local and state authorities cannot ask for your social security number. And where does it say that? Federal law provides that it is a crime to violate the rights of a citizen under the color of law. You can't be arrested for this crime and can also be held personally liable for civil damages. It shall be unlawful for any federal, state, or local government agency to deny any individual any right, benefit, or privilege provided by law because of such individual has refused to disclose his social security account number. Federal courts have ruled the Privacy Act applies equally to the private sector. There is no law requiring an individual to obtain or use social security number. There's a can't remember which link it was. There's one that clearly outlines. Was it this one? I can't find it right now. but no federal or policing agent can just ask for your personal identification. That's what they're doing with my roommate's girlfriend. But as it is, like they can't search my roommate's property, and she's she's his guest at the moment. So let me take some time out real quick to just read some of these comments. Ruri Hishino says she waves. What's up, dollface? East McIntosh says sorry for not coming here right away. Hey, Mac. Kind of sounds like it will be either give the info and install the software or go to jail without pissing the start line. I think that's what they're gonna more or less try to make me do. Azura Wolf says greetings from Italy. Wow. Isa McIntosh says, I really hope if you go to prison you will be safe. Always hear that prison is a bit messed up in there. Well, it's prison is a weird thing. Like they have a protective custody pod, so chances are I will be safe, seeing as how I'm a labeled sex offender. So they'll put me in the PC pod, and even there, like usually when people find out I'm an artist, like it's somewhat of like an unspoken rule that you don't mess with artists. Like people like to keep artists around just to do portraits or envelope art or draw porn. Azura Wolf says, I know your situation. I wish you the best of luck. From what I have heard, the U.S. justice system is horrible. Yes, it is. There's such a huge disparity between, okay, like if you, well, I already explained in my previous video, but I'll just say it here again. Like my conviction back in 2015 was for the possession of child pornography. And let's face it, the possession of mere images, like people are going away for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years in prison, whereas hands-on molesters or rapists see little to no jail or prison time whatsoever. So I think we can all agree that there's just a horrendously huge disparity between those two. Uh, and Zero Wolf says, please take care of yourself. Ruini Shino says, sorry, I couldn't offer more than friendly support. I mean, the moral support you guys offer is just phenomenal, and I feel so much better knowing that there are people out there who agree that what's happening to me is just so unjustly overbearing. And even after coming out of prison and having to deal with all this bullshit on top of it, it's just like I'm still in prison. There's like no getting out of it. I mean, I have so many restrictions on me that this living this pseudo freedom is hardly worth it, especially since I'm being barred from drawing any pornography whatsoever. And I'm a pornographic artist, not drawing porn. So I'm someone who's been being denied his pursuit of happiness. And this is fucking America. They already took away my liberty, my freedom, and they're threatening my pursuit of happiness. And it's already being pretty much torn to shreds, more or less, until my appeal comes through, and I still got to check up on that. Issa McIntosh is asking, you mean you did art for other prisoners? Yeah, hell yeah. They kept my locker full. They would feed me. They would just give me snacks and everything. That's how I received payment in prison. Israel Wolf says, in Italy, hentai manga with lowly characters are illegal. Yeah, that's just friggin' ridiculous. Like, it's getting to that point here in America, but in all actuality, if there is no victim, then there is no crime. But with the current obscenity law, like, they're trying to push that so much, but I don't think they can. I mean, they've been trying to file new charges against me for my natus_01 art, but I haven't received any new paperwork on that whatsoever. So the whole fact that it truly is a victimless crime pertaining to my artwork, that they're just fucking just they continue to hang it over me, but they can't really do anything about it. And I'm just over here just like thinking like, just shit or get off the pot. But in all actuality, the friggin' obscenity law is bullshit. Unconstitutional bullshit. You can't make art illegal. East Macintosh. Also, quick question: will the Patreon money still be useful if you go to jail? I have no issue being a patron if it helps, even with no updates. It won't help while I'm in jail, but it'll definitely help if people continue to be a patron. That I do have like a cushion to fall back on once I release, if I go to prison. So right now, to like, I guess a quick note to all my patrons that if I don't make an update later today, um, and if you don't want to continue your patronage, you may cease your patronage on my Patreon if you'd like. But if you want to show your support and just help me out, just maintain your patronage for a while. Like that money like gets deposited into my bank account every 5th of the month. So it would be nice that, worst case scenario, if they do send me to prison, that I would have a nice little savings of sorts to fall back on. But they tell me that the purpose for me coming in is not to just lock me up straight away. But again, like I'm understandably pensive and just very distrusting of them because they've already locked me up over my drawings before. And for me to deny their unconstitutional demands and punitive requests, I'm feeling like I'm a hair's hair's width away from just getting thrown back in. And for the past couple of days, I've just been trying to come to terms with the idea of going back to prison, and just going back to prison over bullshit. And believe me, when I went to prison, back to prison again over a matter of my own drawings, you have no idea the depth of frustration that I felt throughout that whole time. And it's still something that I suffer with day in and day out. That if I draw a pair of breasts or if I draw a genitalia, they're gonna lock me up right away. So I have no idea what um, what arbitrary reason they're gonna lock me up for again. And I don't want to get locked up, but I feel that what they're asking of me is just outright wrong, unconstitutional, and downright illegal. Because both of these things, just treating people around me guilty by association and asking or demanding their info, is just ridiculous. And to ask me to put like monitoring software on my computer and have me pay money to them on top of that, like both things are just punitive after the fact. And it's just something that I don't want to deal with anymore. And oftentimes I think that it would probably be easier if I just went back to prison. And I know that that's like just a downer mindset, but they just make it too difficult to live. And that's why, like, just the legal system and the federal system here in the US is just so fucked up beyond belief. And I have to say that, I have to request that the people who watch this, please share it and just spread the word around. You don't have to like it or anything. I'm not looking for that, but just to spread this awareness would be very beneficial to everybody, just to get the discussion out there and just to keep the discussion alive and just be informative and let people know what's going on. And I want to warn people that by dismissing this, you're pretty much saying that it's okay what's going on, and you'll be fine with it if the feds ever come after you for any arbitrary reason and misconstrue whatever situation you may be in as a federal offense. So in essence, if you decide to turn away, you're more or less tying that noose around your own neck. So I know it's an uncomfortable topic and people just want to continue sweeping it under the rug, but that's what the feds rely on. They rely on that shame to keep people quiet, to not speak out about these injustices. But they need to be talked about in order to hold them accountable, fully accountable for the bullshit and the hypocrisy that they're completely guilty of. And I do stress that this is something that we need to talk about in order to finally see that we need to take away impunity from the system. These people, when found guilty of these unconstitutional transgressions against American Bill of Rights and its citizens, they need to be held fully accountable and punished for that transgression, because the way I see them now, they are just government-sanctioned oppressors, tyrants, and terrorists. And that's it. I mean, we don't tolerate these transgressions against American people from foreign countries or foreign terrorists, but we tolerate them from our own government. I mean, there's just a double standard there that just doesn't hold water. So, with that said, I gotta get going. It's 9 o'clock and I have to jump on a bus and be there by 10. So I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but I'll be texting them along the way, just letting them know how where I'm at, or like when I'll be there. But anyway, I have to get going now. So I want to read the rest of these comments, but I have to get going. So thanks for watching. Thanks for your support and thanks for your kind words. And I know that a lot of you will be with me, and thanks to Rurouni Hashino for just offering so much moral support in my time of need, and I really appreciate you for that. And you've helped me far more than you can understand. And the same goes for pretty much all of you, that if not for all of you and Rurouni Hashino, I don't know where I'd be without you right now, without the kind words, the moral support, and the immense amount of understanding. And it does give me hope for the future. So I guess stay tuned. Later on today, I'll make another update if things more or less turn out well. And by that I mean that they don't lock me up. But I'm going to go there and we're going to discuss this, and I am going to voice my concerns and talk about this issue to them. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I gotta go. So thank you again. Thanks for watching. And please share this video, spread the word. And the previous video concerning this topic is also linked in the description section below. So yeah, check it out, and we shall talk to you later. Bye.